Metal has always been a genre that has been conscious to the problems that are going around in the world. And it's also been the genre that is unafraid to tackle these in the way in which many people actually experience them. Many people experience these different things in an emotion of rage, in an emotion of anger, in an emotional cry for change, for something to occur in order for the status quo to improve. We saw that so often in the year 2011, with all of the different riots that took place, with all of the uprisings that took place in parts of our planet. And now there's an album that seems form-fit to be the soundtrack to that period of our lives, but also go one step further, and also remind us that we are the product of our own planetary downfall. Kreator's Phantom Antichrist. At first talk of this album, you immediately think to yourself, it's been 3 years since their last album. It's been 3 years since Hordes of Chaos. So it has been a long time coming. There's a lot of expectation. Hordes of Chaos did extremely well commercially, not to mention it gave them United States acclaim, something that they hadn't really had a lot of ever since the latter part of the 1980s. So this is an album that has a lot riding on it. Even though Hordes of Chaos was able to gain that acclaim, this is the album that has to remind everybody that Kreator is still here. Well, they cooked us up a motherfucking dandy. This album is able to, in 10 tracks, summarize the outcry that can be experienced by almost every person in the world that has a brain in their skull, that has a belief system in mind, and is unwilling and unafraid to voice it. Someone who is willing to tell the unaware that there are many, many problems in this world. And this is done in the proper format. This is done in the proper way in which these emotions are usually projected by somebody. Through blind, unadulterated rage, in a direct fashion. Something that doesn't seem to be scolding, but instead seems to be absolutely bantering toward the truth. The vocals are absolutely mind-blowing in the fact that there's an honest sneer to them. Even though we are very used to at this point, Kreator and the vocals being of this nature, there's something about it this time. There's a snarl, there's a sneer, there's just an undeniable message that's on the tongue. There's an undeniable tone that's on the tongue that forces you to listen and understand. The music that swirls surrounding it is something that is also fantastic. The reason why is because, once again, it would seem on the surface to be your standard Kreator album until you listen a little bit more closely, until you hear the whirlwind of the solos that are taking place, until you understand the progression of things going on, when you hear the way in which things have been composed. Whenever you see and witness and hear all of this, whenever all of your senses are attacked by it, you understand that something really, really amazing happened in the studio. Something has really, really inspired this band to take their already impressive legacy and give something else for people to talk about regarding it and elevating it further. There could be songs that I could recommend off of this album, but I have a feeling and a fear that I would be naming each and every one of them. The only one I may not cite would be the opening introduction, track number 1, which seems to lead to nowhere, considering the opening of track 2 is something completely different. But that's the thing. Phantom Antichrist came out, the song, not the album. But it was released, people listened to it, people reviewed it, people shat their pants. I'm here to tell you that Phantom Antichrist is a good song on the album. Just a good song. This album has many, many standout stalwart tracks. This album has moments left and right that leave you not only turning your head and paying attention to whatever the playback device is, and just staring at it as though you can witness it visually, but it also has many moments that leaves you just sitting exactly where you're at, motionless, without motion. Not because you can't headbang to this. You sure as fuck can headbang to this. But the first time you listen to it, you can't fucking headbang to this because your jaw is on the floor dragging you down, and you don't have the courage, you don't have the balls to pick it back up because you know that within the next minute, it's just gonna fall right back down. This album has done something to me that has not been done in a long time. In thrash metal, it's not been done since Ironbound by Overkill. And here's a little example of how this rating is going to go. This album is better than Ironbound by Overkill, and I love that album. I adore it. This album has it all. It is socially aware. It is musically diverse, surprisingly enough. It has a lot to offer. The guitar solos set your mind spinning. The bass is thick. The drumming is fantastic. The voice, once again I return to the voice. He is preaching and snarling like he is in a pulpit, telling everybody to wake the fuck up. But he's not trying to tell you to wake the fuck up, that God's right around the corner and that Jesus will save you. No, instead he's telling you, fuck that God, fuck that Jesus, fuck it all. Be yourself. See that the world around you is fucked up and work to change it. And if not, then see the people that are causing negativity. See the people that are causing this hatred, this united hatred, and destroy them. Don't just be a face in the crowd. Be a face on a cover of a newspaper, a magazine, an online article. Uprise. This album has ascended to a place that I don't think I have ever assigned an album before on this channel. And aside from an absolute shock, this may mean that December's already wrapped up. Ladies and gentlemen, Kreator's Phantom Antichrist has caused me to do something that I swore and thought that I would never have to. This album is a perfect 10. That is all you need to know.